Hey Beasley, do you want to talk about tents today?
Want to talk about tents?
Yeah? Okay, we're going to talk about tents today.
Boo!
So, like I said with Beasley, my dog, we're going to be talking about tents today. I'm going to be focusing specifically on the difference between a backpacking tent and an ultralight backpacking tent. There's actually a pretty big difference, and you're kind of on a different mode today because I'm using my phone right now. So, there's my pile of stuff for backpacking and camping. And that's kind of what I pull from when I'm doing videos. And I have a lot of other stuff, but that's just kind of what I have out right now. And there's me and my wife. And yeah, this is actually where I film all my stuff. So it's our office. Welcome to our office. So I'm going to pull out two separate types of tents today. We're going to get into it. I'm going to set them up and tell you the differences between the two of them and why they're different. And there's actually quite a big amount of differences, like with the square footage inside the tent, the weight of the tent as a whole, how you kind of set them up is a little bit different as well, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go over those two different types of things. And I'm going to take you over to the living room because I don't have space in the office to set up two tents. So we're going to go over to the living room now. Alrighty, let's go.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about these two different types of tents, basically the kind of normal backpacking tent and then the ultralight backpacking tent and the differences in them. So you can see them right here. First off, just right off the bat, you can tell the difference because I'm guessing you can pick which one is the ultralight and which one is the kind of standard backpacking tent. They are both considered backpacking tents, but there's a pretty big difference. So different brands, but this one is the Mountain Hardwear Mineral King 2-person backpacking tent. This is the Big Agnes Fly Creek Ultralight, Fly Creek HV Ultralight 2. It's a lot of abbreviations. So different brands, but these are actually both considered backpacking tents. And they're both 2-person tents, but they're very different sizes, even just in the packaging. And I'm going to give you the specs on each of them, the weight, the square footage inside, the dimensions for them when they're packed, all that kind of stuff. I'm also going to give you a quick tip at the very end of the video, a tip on how to best pack your backpacking tent, no matter which kind of tent it is. So stick around to the end of the video to hear about that. But we're going to actually now set up each of these tents side by side. You're going to see a comparison of them side by side so you can really get a good perspective on kind of what you're looking at when you're looking at a standard backpacking tent versus an ultralight backpacking tent. All right, let's do it. All right, so we're going to start with the Mineral King 2-person backpacking tent by Mountain Hardwear first. This is what ends most people right here. All of that. Boop. This is why you have to always pay attention to what you're doing. You can't tell, but I put that on upside down. So I got to flip the whole thing around now. Awesome. Okay, now it's the easy part. All I have to do is clip, this thing's shaking. All I have to do is clip the tent basically up along these poles and you'll be good to go. Also, this is not what this video is supposed to be on, but assembling this tent versus the ultralight backpacking tent is a completely different story. I'm sweating, it's hot in here. Okay. There's Beasley, she's working hard, I see. Okay, so tent number 1 assembled. That took no time at all, right? Whew. This is a 2-person tent. It's the backpacking one, but not the ultralight backpacking one. It has doors on each side, and I'm not going to put the Rainfly on it right now, but it does have a vestibule on each side as well. So it's a little bit more camping friendly. This is actually what we do take camping as well. But that's it. I am breathing hard. I was kind of sweaty to do that, especially inside. It's like 73 degrees in here right now. But there it is. There's Beasley. She's working hard. Yeah. All right. So that's the backpacking tent, just the standard one. Now I'm going to assemble the ultralight backpacking tent, and we're gonna put them side by side and do a kind of comparison. So here we go. out of room and I'm tired. Okay, let's start doing the ultralight backpacking tent now. Once again, to remind you, this is the Fly Creek HVUL2 by Big Agnes. It's a really good backpacking brand. For now, I'm just gonna go ahead and assemble this, so let's get to it. That's literally it. So much simpler to assemble this guy than the other one. By the way, you're going to think that you're breaking the tent poles when you're assembling these things, but you are not. So now, all you got to do is clip this up. Okay, that is it for the ultralight backpacking tent. I'm just going to show you around it really quick. So one door entrance, very lightweight. Okay, so now I'm gonna compare the two of them together and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna do my best to give you a side-by-side comparison, but if you have seen my living room, it is not as wide as two tents. So we're gonna figure this out together. All right, so side-by-side comparison is not really gonna work, but I have another way to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the two-person backpacking tent, and over there is the two-person ultralight backpacking tent. And I'm going to show you exactly why the ultralight backpacking tent is so much smaller and how much smaller it is in comparison to the normal backpacking tent. Okay, so you've done something that I would never recommend doing, which is setting up two separate backpacking tents in your living room at the exact same time. But what I'm going to show you now is the actual size comparison and difference between the two tents. And I'm going to try to do this in the best way I can, but you've seen my living room. So this is the size and space that I have to work with. So we're going to figure out how this works. I don't know. I have an idea of how I'm going to show you how to do, like what the difference is here. I'm dizzy. Okay. One down. Whew. Two down. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the difference between a regular backpacking tent and an ultralight backpacking tent. I am dizzy. I don't recommend doing that. Whew. Inflating two backpacking tents in a row. Okay. Okay, so my plan here is to take both of these sleeping pads, which is basically the width of a person when they're sleeping in a tent, and then put them inside the backpacking tents, each of them, and then you'll see the difference between how much space is inside each tent, and that'll give you actually a really good clue on kind of what the difference is. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna put the backpacking pads in the backpacking tents and go with it from there. Can you tell how much sweatier I'm getting? All right. Oh, hey, Beezy. She's very curious. Okay, so this is the standard backpacking tent. So I just put one in. I'm gonna put the other one in. All right, so what you have here is my dog and two sleeping pads inside the backpacking tent. This is, once again, it's the standard backpacking tent, not the ultralight one. So you can see the two pads. This is on the edge of each side. Excuse me, Beasley, watch out. All right, and then the edge of the other side there, and you can see the gap right there, how much space you have between. So you have about half a sleeping pad's width between the two people that would be sleeping inside the tent. So you have space for the gear a little bit and some kind of clothing and that kind of stuff that can fit in here. And then also in this backpacking tent, you have some straps and mesh and that kind of stuff to like store little knickknacks, and you have some pockets in the sides that you can store stuff as well. So that's kind of what you're seeing with like a backpacking tent. That's kind of just a standard backpacking tent. Once again, I'll put the specs for each of these tents up on the screen or something like that. But that's the idea. My dog is very curious about backpacking. Beasley, you want to go backpacking? You want to go backpacking? I don't know if she wants to go backpacking. We'll see if we can get her out there sometime. That'd be a lot of fun. All right, so now we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to do it with the ultralight backpacking tent. You can see the space that's in there, and that'll actually help you really compare the difference between the two. So here we go. Okay, so with this, the ultralight backpacking tent, with this one, it's a front entrance. It only has one entrance and it's through the front there. So I'm just gonna open it up and throw the 2 pads in there and you'll see the difference. All right, so pad number 1 and pad number 2. So an important note here is that I'm putting the head of the pad on the front, on like the front entrance here, because that's how the tent is shaped. It's kind of shaped like a triangle. So you got to put the head on the top for both of them. All right, so I'll give you a better look here. Okay, so this is what it looks like in the backpacking. The ultralight one is that I put pads on the edge of both, and you don't have a lot of extra space in there. You have a little bit near the head, but that's pretty much it. So no extra gap in the middle there. And that's kind of what you're looking at for the backpacking tent, the ultralight backpacking tent. So not nearly as much space, but much more lightweight, a lot smaller footprint in the backpack and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, and now we're back in the office for just the final part of the video there. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And finally, as I promised, at the end of the video here, I'm going to tell you my one little pro tip for packing your backpack better with your backpacking tent. I'm using the ultralight one as my example because I like it better, if you didn't pick that up already. And the big tip is to actually pack your trekking poles and your tent stakes separate from your tent itself. If you have your trekking poles and tent stakes inside of it, it kind of creates this rigidity in your tent and it basically can't move. And that's pretty much what you have to pack inside your tent, inside your backpack. But if you keep the stakes and the poles outside of the tent and pack them separately, what you can do with your tent is it allows some more flexibility and it can actually move around a little bit more and get squished down more. And you can even fold it in half if you need to or whatever. It can kind of just conform to the shape of whatever it needs to in your backpack. So that's my quick tip for you at the very end of the video. Once again, I hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.